What if your dreams are more real than you think? Every night, you disappear. Your eyes close. Your breath slows. Your body becomes still. But behind your eyelids, another world awakens. You fly, you fall, you run but can't move. You speak to people who no longer exist. You visit places you've never been, yet somehow remember. And then you wake up. You shake your head. You scroll your phone. You forget. Until tonight, when it begins again. But here's the question no one dares to ask. What if your dreams aren't random? What if they're messages? And what if ignoring them is like throwing away letters from your deepest self? Your brain doesn't sleep like you think. Most people believe sleep is a shutdown, that dreaming is noise, meaningless static from a tired brain. But neuroscience now tells us something shocking. During dreams, your brain is more active than when you're awake. It processes emotions, memories, fears, and desires. It makes associations you'd never allow while conscious. It speaks a language your waking mind can't understand. You're not resting when you dream. You're reorganizing your soul. What if dreams are subconscious broadcasts? Your subconscious mind never sleeps, never forgets, never lies. It stores everything. Every face you've seen, every fear you've repressed, every possibility you've imagined, every shame you've buried, every longing you've denied. And when the gate of awareness closes, it speaks. But it doesn't use words. It uses symbols, patterns, emotions, and impossible imagery. Dreams are not nonsense. They are the raw language of the hidden self. Why you dream what you dream? Ever wonder why you're naked in public? Why you lose your teeth? Why you return to your childhood home? Why you keep meeting the same person, someone who's long gone? These aren't random. They're codes, each one trying to say something you're not ready to admit while awake. But in the dream, you don't resist, you don't filter, you receive. And when you wake up, it all vanishes like smoke, unless you choose to listen. You've been dreaming all your life, but you've never been taught how to understand it. In school, they taught you math. They taught you history. They taught you how to survive in a waking world. But no one ever taught you to interpret your own symbolism, decode emotional patterns in dreams, use dream imagery to guide real-life decisions, heal past trauma that returns night after night, recognize your inner world as real as the outer one. So you forget. You laugh it off. You say, it was just a dream. But what if that dream was the truest thing you experienced all day? The uncomfortable possibility. Science can explain much. So can psychology. So can trauma theory and sleep studies. But some dreams defy it all. The dream that predicted the phone call. The dream that warned of danger. The dream that delivered peace from someone who passed away. The dream that changed your mind, your heart, your life. Coincidence? Maybe. But what if not? What if the subconscious isn't a mirror, but a messenger, and you've been ignoring it your whole life? A wake-up call you didn't expect. This video isn't about dream dictionaries. It's not about magic. It's not about making you believe anything. It's about giving you the lens to see what's been trying to reach you from the inside. Because if you can learn to listen to your dreams, really listen, you'll begin to understand why you feel lost, why you keep repeating the same mistakes, why certain people appear again and again, why you're afraid to speak your truth, and what part of you is begging to be remembered. What you're about to discover. In the next 10 chapters, we'll uncover the science and soul of dreaming, what your brain does while you sleep, why you dream what you dream, how to recognize recurring symbols, the truth behind nightmares, how to unlock lucid dreaming, whether your dreams can predict the future, and how dreams might be the last place you're truly yourself. This isn't a sleep story. This is a revelation, because the most mysterious part of your life might be the one you sleep through. This is Hidden Truths, and this is the truth about dreams, what your subconscious has been trying to tell you all along. Part 1. Dreams are not random. The brain's hidden language. We've been told that dreams are random, that they're just static, leftovers of brain activity, meaningless noise, that what we see in sleep is a mix of memory fragments, stress, and whatever we ate for dinner. But what if that's wrong? What if dreams are structured? What if they follow a language, a set of symbols, sequences, and logic all their own? What if every dream is a message sent from one part of your mind to another? Not random, not noise, but a code. A code from the part of you that knows the truth, even when you don't want to see it. Your brain has two voices. You have a conscious mind, the part that plans, judges, calculates, worries, filters. And you have a subconscious mind, the part that remembers everything, feels deeply, stores trauma, and keeps you alive without effort. While you're awake, the conscious mind is loud. It dominates. It keeps the world in order. But when you sleep, the conscious mind steps aside, and the subconscious takes the stage. Dreams are how that part of you speaks, but it doesn't use your native language. It doesn't think in paragraphs or grammar. It speaks in imagery, emotion, pattern, and repetition, and symbolism. To understand your dreams is to learn a second language, the secret language of your own mind. Dreams as internal communication. Think of your brain like a divided nation. The conscious city, bright, structured, full of rules. The subconscious wilderness, vast, emotional, instinctual, ancient. Normally, these two realms speak through behavior, impulse, and mood. But during sleep, the wilderness sends its messages to the city, and those messages are your dreams. When you're suppressing something, it shows up as a shadow chasing you. When you're stuck in fear, it appears as a never-ending fall. When you're healing, you might see yourself flying. When you're conflicted, you might lose teeth or miss a train. These aren't random. They're crafted by you, the deeper you. What science says about randomness. Modern neuroscience used to call dreams meaningless, but newer studies tell a different story. During REM sleep, the dream-heavy stage, the limbic system, emotion center, is highly active. The prefrontal cortex, logic or filtering, is partially offline. The brain is processing emotional content, particularly unresolved stress. Neural pathways related to learning and memory are being restructured. In other words, dreaming is emotional integration. It's the brain filing, connecting, and responding to what you've lived but not yet processed. So while the content may look bizarre, the function is deeply meaningful. Patterns in dreams equal patterns in you.
If you've ever had a recurring dream, recurring location, recurring theme, recurring person, recurring failure, then your subconscious is doing what it always does, repeating itself until you listen. Because it doesn't speak in lectures, it speaks in loops. And it will show you the same symbol again and again until you finally say, wait, what does this mean? Decoding the symbols. Here's the tricky part. Dreams aren't universal. Yes, some archetypes appear across cultures. Falling often relates to loss of control. Teeth falling out is frequently linked to powerlessness. Being chased may reflect avoidance or fear. But your subconscious doesn't care about a dream dictionary. It cares about you. If your childhood home appears, it means something specific to your past. If a wolf shows up, it may mean freedom, or fear, or your father. If you're flying, it may represent triumph, or your need to escape. Dreams speak in your own metaphors. You are both the author and the audience. Why we dismiss dreams? So why do we wake up and say, it was just random, that made no sense, it's probably nothing? Because the conscious mind is afraid of ambiguity. It hates symbols it can't explain. It fears truths it can't control. So it dismisses the subconscious as nonsense. But that nonsense might be the truest thing you've felt all week. A dream is a message you sent to yourself, and then you forgot. Imagine this. You write yourself a letter in your own handwriting, you seal it, you hide it in a dream, and when you wake up, you forget you even wrote it. But it's still there. It's still waiting. All you have to do is read it. Not literally, but emotionally, symbolically, intuitively. And what you find might change everything. Final thought. Your dreams know the truth. Do you? Your dreams don't lie. They can't, because they're built by the part of you that has no filter, no mask, no performance. So the next time you wake up from something strange, beautiful, terrifying, or sad, don't ask, what was that about? Ask, what part of me needed to say that while I wasn't looking? Because dreams aren't random. They're the language of the only part of you that never forgets the truth. Part 2. The architecture of sleep. What happens in your brain when you dream? Every night, your body goes still, but your brain begins a symphony. Not of silence, not of shutdown, but of orchestration, timing, and purpose. We think of sleep as passive, but in truth, it's one of the most active, carefully choreographed processes your body goes through. And dreaming is not some afterthought. It's built into the architecture of sleep itself. Understanding this architecture is the first step to understanding your dreams, because without knowing how your brain dreams, you'll never understand why. The sleep cycle is not just deep and light. Most people talk about sleep like it's binary: light sleep, deep sleep, maybe REM. But the reality is far more layered. Your brain goes through 5 distinct stages, organized into repeating 90-minute cycles throughout the night. Each cycle consists of Stage 1, NREM 1, light sleep, the transition. Stage 2, NREM 2, deeper relaxation, temperature and heart rate drop. Stage 3, NREM 3, deep sleep, the body repairs. Stage 4, NREM 4, slow wave sleep, memory consolidation begins. REM, rapid eye movement, the dreaming stage, the theater of your subconscious. You cycle through these 4 to 6 times per night. But what happens in REM is what you remember as a dream. REM sleep, where dreaming comes alive. During REM sleep, Your brain activity spikes, almost matching wakefulness. Your heart rate increases. Your breathing becomes irregular. Your eyes move rapidly under closed lids. Your body becomes paralyzed to prevent you from acting out your dreams. This is where emotions are processed, memories are restructured, neural connections are rewired, symbols and metaphors rise from the depths. REM sleep isn't just where you dream, it's where your inner world speaks out loud. What the brain is doing during a dream. Let's go deeper. Neuroscience has mapped what's happening in the dreaming brain. Amygdala, highly active. This is your emotional center. It processes fear, anger, love, shame. That's why dreams often feel so intense. Hippocampus, semi-active. This is your memory. In dreams, it helps rearrange past experiences into new forms. Prefrontal cortex, mostly offline. This is your logic, discipline, and reality checking. That's why dreams can be bizarre. You're not stopping them. In dreams, your emotions drive the story, not your logic. And that's exactly how the subconscious likes it. The purpose of each stage: deep sleep, NREM 3 and 4, physical healing, immune system boost, memory storage. REM sleep, emotional processing, creativity, trauma repair, integration of identity. And dreams? They're not a side effect of REM, they're part of its function. You dream because your mind is working through what you felt but didn't say, what you saw but didn't understand, what you fear but can't face, what you hope for but haven't admitted. Why you dream toward morning. Ever notice your most vivid dreams happen in the early hours? That's because in early sleep cycles, deep sleep dominates. But in later cycles, REM gets longer and more intense. By the last third of the night, your brain is spending up to 45 minutes in a single REM cycle. That's when the dreams become cinematic, symbols get stronger. You wake up and remember what your mind showed you. What happens if you don't dream? If you're not dreaming, or if REM sleep is disrupted, it can lead to poor emotional regulation, impaired memory, increased anxiety and depression, reduced creativity and problem-solving ability. People deprived of REM experience REM rebound, longer, more intense dreams the next night. Your brain fights to dream because it knows you need to. Idea: sleep architecture equals subconscious access points. Think of each cycle as a door to the subconscious. The deeper you go into REM, the more raw, vivid, and honest your inner voice becomes. That's why you process trauma best in REM. You form new insights while dreaming. You sometimes wake up knowing what you couldn't say the day before. Your subconscious doesn't speak while you're awake, but in REM, it sings. Final thought: your dreams aren't accidents, they're scheduled meetings with yourself. Every night, your brain builds a stage. Lights dim, logic exits, emotion enters, symbols dance, truth whispers. And you are both the audience and the author. So the next time you're tempted to say, "It was just a dream," remember, that dream took your brain 90 minutes of preparation and a perfectly timed biological sequence just to get you to the one moment when your soul could speak. Don't waste it. Part 3. Recurring dreams. Why the same message keeps coming back. You've had this dream before. Maybe it's the hallway you can never reach the end of, the exam you forgot to study for, the person who keeps showing up even years after they left your life, or the teeth, the fall, the chase. It doesn't matter how much time passes, this dream returns. And each time you wake up with the same reaction, why do I keep dreaming this? The answer is simpler and deeper than you think, because the message hasn't been heard yet. Your subconscious repeats until you listen. Your waking mind is fast. It moves on. It gets distracted. It explains things away. But your subconscious never forgets. It holds on to unresolved pain, unspoken emotions, unprocessed trauma, unmet needs, unmade decisions. And when it can't find closure, it knocks on your door again and again through dreams. The same image, the same setting, the same emotional atmosphere, not to haunt you, but to deliver the same message you keep avoiding. A dream is a letter you keep returning to sender. Imagine your subconscious writes you a message. You open it, skim it, ignore it, throw it away. So it sends it again, but this time louder, darker, more vivid, more emotional, until eventually the dream demands your attention. Because what you resist in waking life, you often relive in your sleep. Why recurring dreams often involve fear. Think of the common recurring themes: being chased, falling, teeth falling out, being trapped, missing something important, facing someone who hurt you. These dreams aren't random. They're emotional metaphors. Being chased equals avoidance. Falling equals loss of control. Trapped equals helplessness. Teeth equals powerlessness. Missed exam equals fear of failure. Lost in a place equals lack of direction in life. Your subconscious doesn't care about realism. It cares about truth. You dream in symbols, not literal scenes. You may dream of your childhood home, a room that doesn't exist, a version of yourself that's younger or different, a parent, alive or dead, an ex-partner, even though you've moved on. These aren't people or places in the literal sense. They're representations of emotional chapters, portals to what still needs attention. Your old home to your old identity, your ex to the part of you that's still healing, the child version of you to the you that was left behind. The reason the dream repeats is because the wound is still open. Recurring dreams as psychological feedback loops. Carl Jung called dreams the guiding words of the soul. And recurring dreams? They are the soul's most persistent whispers. Psychologists believe they serve a function: to bring unresolved conflicts to awareness, to push integration of fractured parts of the self, to restore inner balance through symbolic confrontation. It's not punishment, it's repair. But you have to participate. You have to stop asking, "Why am I dreaming this again?" and start asking, "What am I still refusing to face?" Real examples of recurring dream patterns. A man dreams of being lost in a giant airport for years. Eventually realizes he's avoided every major life decision out of fear of boarding the wrong flight. A woman dreams her teeth crumble in front of a mirror. Therapy reveals deep fear of powerlessness and aging, left unspoken since adolescence. A boy dreams of being chased through endless school hallways. It's not about fear of school, but about being trapped in expectations he didn't choose. The dream will evolve only when you do. The dream evolves when you respond. One of the most beautiful truths is that when you begin working with a recurring dream, it often changes. The hallway gets shorter. The monster loses its face. You stop running. You turn and ask the figure, "What do you want?" And sometimes the dream stops, not because it gave up, but because it was finally received. Your subconscious got the message across. How to break the cycle or listen to it. Write the dream down every time it happens. Patterns will emerge. Name the emotions, not the events. Ask, what did I feel? Not just, what did I see? Ask the dream a question before sleep. What are you trying to show me? Don't fear the repetition. It's not a curse. It's a conversation you've been avoiding. Bring the message into waking life. Action in reality often ends the cycle in the mind. Final thought. A dream repeats because the truth was never heard. Recurring dreams are not a glitch. They are your inner self knocking on the door of your awareness. So the next time you have that same dream again, don't roll over. Don't say, not this again. Say, I'm listening now. Because the third truth about dreams is this: what repeats in your sleep is what you've ignored while awake.
Part 4. Nightmares, the dark mirror of your unprocessed pain. You wake up breathless, sweating, shaken. It was only a dream, you tell yourself, but your body doesn't believe you. Your heart pounds, your muscles remain tense. You feel like you barely escaped something real. That was a nightmare. But it wasn't just a nightmare. It was a message cloaked in fear, a mirror held up to something you haven't yet faced. Because nightmares don't come to hurt you. They come to reveal what's already hurting you. Why we have nightmares? Nightmares are not flaws in the brain. They are emergency signals from the subconscious. When you suppress trauma, guilt, shame, rage, grief, it doesn't go away. It goes underground, into the subconscious. And when the pressure builds too high, it erupts at night in dreams too vivid to ignore. Nightmares are emotional fire drills. Think of your mind like a house. When something dangerous is hiding in the basement, a fear you won't name, a pain you won't admit, your subconscious pulls the fire alarm. You feel chased, you fall, you scream but no sound comes out. You wake in terror. That's not punishment, that's protection. Nightmares are how the brain tests your survival responses and asks you to confront what you won't face in daylight. The science behind the darkness. During nightmares, your brain is hyperactive. The amygdala, the fear center, lights up. The prefrontal cortex, the logic, is dialed down. The dream becomes pure emotion, unfiltered, raw. Your body responds: increased heart rate, sweating, muscle tension, sometimes sleep paralysis. It feels real because in many ways it is. You're not in danger, but you're touching something that was. Nightmares and trauma. For those with PTSD, nightmares can be brutal. They replay accidents, violence, abuse, loss, fear, sometimes literally, sometimes symbolically. They're not just dreams, they're unfinished experiences, the subconscious trying to find closure again and again. Until the trauma is witnessed, processed, integrated, the nightmare continues. It's not weakness, it's memory trying to complete itself. Why nightmares are often symbolic. Most nightmares aren't literal retellings. You're chased, you're avoiding something. You drown, you feel emotionally overwhelmed. You fall, you've lost control in waking life. You're trapped, you feel stuck in a relationship, job, or identity. You die, a part of your identity is ending. The symbols are intense because the message is urgent. Your brain doesn't whisper during nightmares, it shouts.
not to scare you, but to wake you up emotionally, not just physically. Shadow work while you sleep. Carl Jung believed every human has a shadow, the parts of ourselves we deny, suppress, or reject. Nightmares are when the shadow visits you, not to punish you, but to ask, will you look at me now? Will you feel what you've numbed? Will you stop pretending this doesn't matter? The monster isn't trying to kill you. It's trying to be seen. Healing through the nightmare. Believe it or not, nightmares can be healing if you let them be. Studies show people who work with their nightmares often experience emotional breakthroughs. Lucid dreamers who confront dream threats often reduce anxiety in real life. Therapies like EMDR and imagery rehearsal therapy use dreams to reprocess trauma safely. Because when you stop running and start listening, the nightmare loses its teeth. How to work with nightmares, not fight them. Write it down immediately. Details fade fast. Capture them raw. Ask what emotion was strongest: fear, shame, helplessness? Look for metaphors. What do the images represent in your waking life? Thank the dream. Yes, really. It showed you what you were avoiding. Ask, what do I need to heal to stop this dream? The answer often lies in a conversation, boundary, or truth withheld. Final thought. Nightmares are brutal honesty in disguise. You think the nightmare is the problem, but it's pointing to the real problem. So don't silence it. Don't run from it. Don't drug it away. Sit with it. Decode it. Let it speak. Because the fourth truth about dreams is this: nightmares are not broken dreams. They are survival dreams, cloaked in pain, desperate for your attention. And if you dare to listen, you might find that the monster was you, just a version of you that finally wants to come home. Part 5. Lucid Dreaming. When you wake up inside the dream. You're running from something. The world is strange. The laws of physics are off. Suddenly, you pause. You look at your hands. You question everything. And then it hits you. Wait, this is a dream. Your heart races, not from fear, but from awe. You're still asleep, but now you're awake inside your own dream. Welcome to the rare, remarkable, and mysterious world of lucid dreaming, a state where the dreamer becomes conscious, where the impossible bends to intention, and where the boundaries between perception and creation dissolve. What is lucid dreaming? Lucid dreaming occurs when you're in a dream, usually during REM sleep, and you become aware that you're dreaming. This awareness can range from fleeting, "This isn't real," to fully immersive, "I can control everything here." In a lucid dream, you may fly, breathe underwater, walk through walls, talk to people who've passed, enter memories, ask your subconscious direct questions, and none of it feels imaginary. It feels real because your dream body believes it's real. Science behind lucid dreams. For decades, lucid dreaming was dismissed as fantasy, but science caught up. In a groundbreaking study, researchers placed participants in sleep labs and asked them to signal lucidity with pre-agreed eye movements during REM. The result? Subjects signaled from inside the dream, while their brains showed active REM sleep. Lucid dreaming is now scientifically verified. Neuroscience shows increased activity in the prefrontal cortex, the logic center, gamma brain waves associated with consciousness and heightened awareness, activation of metacognition, the ability to reflect on your own thinking. In short, a lucid dream is a moment where you regain the narrator's pen inside your own subconscious. Why people seek lucid dreaming? Lucid dreaming isn't just cool, it's transformative. Here's why people pursue it. 1. Healing and closure. Talk to someone who's gone. Say what you couldn't say in life. 2. Overcoming nightmares. Turn toward the monster. Ask why it's chasing you. Watch it vanish. 3. Creativity. Einstein, Dali, and Tesla all used dreams to solve problems and access innovation. 4. Spiritual exploration. Some describe lucid dreaming as a gateway to out-of-body experiences, astral realms, or messages from the higher self. 5. Empowerment. Imagine a world where your limits don't apply. That's the playground of lucidity. The lucid dreamer's paradox. Here's what's wild. Even though you know it's a dream, the dream still feels completely real. You can feel texture, taste food, hear music, sense time, experience emotion. It's as if your brain is saying, reality is a simulation, and now you're the coder. But with that freedom comes an existential truth. If you can control everything, what will you choose to face? How to trigger lucid dreaming. Beginner's Guide. Anyone can experience lucid dreaming with practice. Here's how. 1. Reality checks. Ask yourself several times a day, am I dreaming? Try pushing a finger through your palm. In dreams, it will go through. 2. Dream journaling. Record dreams every morning. This builds awareness of recurring symbols, which helps trigger lucidity. 3. Wake back to bed method. Wake up after 5 to 6 hours of sleep, stay awake for 20 to 30 minutes, then go back to sleep. REM will be stronger and lucidity more likely. 4. Mnemonic induction, MILD. As you fall asleep, repeat, I will realize I'm dreaming. This plants a conscious seed into the subconscious. 5. Supplements, optional. Some report improved lucidity with substances like galantamine or B6, but always consult a professional before experimenting. Warning: the temptation of escape. Lucid dreaming can be seductive. A perfect world, infinite control, freedom from consequence. But beware. Lucid dreaming is not meant to replace your life. It's meant to help you understand it more deeply. If you use it to run away, it becomes another form of avoidance. But if you use it to explore, to listen, to face, it becomes spiritual practice. Lucid dreaming and the self. One of the most mysterious parts of lucid dreaming is this. Who is the you that becomes aware? It's not your body. It's not your brain. It's you, the observer, the questioner, the silent presence. In lucid dreams, people often experience the death of the ego, a feeling of infinite connection, a direct encounter with the subconscious mind, a sense of being consciousness itself. It's not just sleep, it's a form of waking up. Final thought. The dreamer who wakes becomes the creator. Most people sleep through their dreams, but lucid dreamers learn to see them, to shape them, to listen while awake inside the myth. So the next time you feel the dream shift, look at your hands. Ask yourself, am I dreaming? Because the fifth truth about dreams is this: You can wake up while you're asleep, and when you do, you might just meet the part of you that's been dreaming your whole life.
Part 6. Dream Symbols. How your subconscious speaks in metaphor. In waking life, you speak with words, but in dreams, your subconscious speaks with symbols. It doesn't use sentences. It doesn't explain. It shows you an image, a pattern, a moment that feels loaded with meaning, but not in a way you can instantly decode. Because the subconscious doesn't speak English. It speaks emotionally, intuitively, and above all, metaphorically. Your dream isn't just what you saw, it's what that image represents. And learning to read your dream language is like unlocking the dictionary of your soul. Why the subconscious uses symbols. Imagine trying to express shame you haven't admitted, longing you won't confess, trauma too painful to revisit, truths you're not ready to speak. Words fail. But a symbol? A symbol speaks in layers. It bypasses your ego. It enters you through emotion, and it leaves behind a trace that lingers. Symbols are how the deepest part of you gets through the noise. That's why dreams are strange, not because they're nonsense, but because they're written in a language you forgot you knew. But here's the catch. Symbols are personal. Two people dream of a snake. For one, it represents danger and fear. For another, it means healing and transformation. Why? Because dreams use the emotional charge you associate with a symbol, not what it means in a book. There is no one-size-fits-all dream dictionary. The only real interpreter is you. Dreams are your mind's art gallery. Think of your subconscious like a surrealist painter. You give it the raw materials, your memories, your desires, your regrets, your secrets, and it paints something abstract. Not to confuse you, but to compress meaning into a form your conscious mind might understand if it's paying attention. A dream is not literal, it's art. And like all good art, it's meant to be felt, not just understood. How to interpret your own symbols. Forget the books for a moment. Try this instead. Write the dream down in detail. That is, what stood out most? What image lingers? Ask, what emotion did I feel in the dream? That is, fear, peace, embarrassment, longing. Associate freely. That is, what does that image mean to me, in my life, right now? Connect it to waking life. That is, where else do I feel that emotion during the day? Trust your first emotional insight. That is, the subconscious speaks fast before the ego filters it. Don't analyze with intellect. Feel with intuition. Symbol clusters mean deeper messages. Often dreams don't send a single image. They build a theme. Falling, teeth, public failure, laughter, powerlessness. This isn't coincidence. It's a message with multiple angles. It's like your subconscious saying, you're still holding on to the fear of being seen as weak. You still haven't forgiven yourself for that mistake. You still believe you're not enough. These themes repeat until you finally respond. Symbols can be the key to healing. Some symbols come to protect. Some come to warn. Some come to reveal. And some come to guide. But all of them come with a singular invitation. Feel what you've ignored. Remember what you forgot. Become who you truly are. Every symbol is a doorway, not to escape reality, but to enter it more honestly. Final thought. Learn the language your soul speaks. You speak English.
or Vietnamese, or Spanish, but your dreams speak a language older than all of that. The language of fire, flight, falling, water, mirrors, silence, light, shadow. And when you learn to read that language, you don't just understand your dreams, you begin to understand yourself. Because the sixth truth about dreams is this: your subconscious doesn't talk, it paints. And if you stop trying to translate too quickly, you might finally see the masterpiece it's been showing you all along.
Part 7, Sleep Paralysis and Shadow Figures, Science or Something More. It always begins the same way. You wake up, but you can't move. Your eyes open, but your body is frozen. You try to scream, but no sound escapes. And then you feel it, a presence in the room. You can't see it clearly, but you know it's there. A shadow, maybe, watching, waiting, sometimes sitting on your chest, sometimes standing in the corner, sometimes whispering words you can't quite understand. You tell yourself it's not real, but it feels realer than real. This isn't just a nightmare. This is sleep paralysis. And millions of people across cultures and centuries report the same experience. How is that possible? Is it just the brain, or is something else happening? What is sleep paralysis? Sleep paralysis is a state between wakefulness and sleep where your mind is awake, your body remains paralyzed, you're unable to move, speak, or cry out, and you often experience hallucinations, visual, auditory, or physical. It usually occurs during REM sleep, when your brain naturally paralyzes your body to prevent movement during dreams. Sometimes the paralysis persists even after your mind wakes up. And in that strange in-between, the door between reality and dream remains half open, and something steps through. This happens everywhere with the same entity. What makes sleep paralysis so disturbing isn't just the immobility, it's the entity. People from completely different cultures who've never heard of one another report eerily similar visions. The shadow man, the hat man, an old woman sitting on the chest, figures in the hallway, an evil presence at the foot of the bed. How can this be? Why do people around the world see the same things? Is it just neurology, or is it a shared layer of consciousness? The scientific explanation. Science offers several theories. 1. REM atonia malfunction. Your brain wakes up mentally while your body is still paralyzed from REM. Result? Conscious mind plus paralyzed body equals terror. 2. Amygdala activation. Your fear center spikes during paralysis, creating a sense of dread and hallucinations of threats. 3. Hypnopompic hallucinations. As you transition out of sleep, your brain may overlay dream content onto reality, creating ghostly visuals. But here's the problem. These theories don't explain the consistency of the hallucinations. Why the same archetypes, the same entities, the same settings? Even neurologists admit, we know how it happens. We don't know why it's so specific or so shared. A cross-cultural phenomenon. Let's go around the world. In Japan, kanashibari means being bound by metal. In Nigeria, the devil is pressing me. In Newfoundland, the old hag. In Mexico, se me subió el muerto means the dead climbed on me. In Cambodia, dream visitations by ghosts of ancestors or spirits.
Despite language and religion, people describe an invisible weight on the chest, a terrifying presence nearby, a feeling of evil watching. Coincidence? Or are they touching the same realm from different cultural lenses? The Jungian view, archetypes of the shadow. Carl Jung believed we all carry a shadow self, the dark, repressed aspects of our psyche we avoid. Sleep paralysis may be a moment when the ego dissolves, the barrier between the conscious and unconscious breaks, and the shadow enters the room, not physically, but symbolically. In other words, you're not seeing a demon, you're seeing your own fear, rage, guilt, shame, personified. And the only way past it is to face it. But what if it's not just you? Here's where it gets uncomfortable. Some people report shared experiences with partners sleeping next to them. Others report physical marks, scratches, bruises after paralysis. In ancient texts, sleep paralysis was seen as a form of spiritual attack, possession, or visitation. Could it be that sleep paralysis opens a doorway, one that's usually shut? And if so, what else has the key? Science says it's the mind. Myth says it's the spirit world. Experience? Experience says, I don't know, but I felt it. How to handle sleep paralysis? If you suffer from sleep paralysis, here are steps that can help. 1. Stay calm. Remind yourself this will pass. Fear intensifies the experience. 2. Focus on wiggling a finger or toe. A small movement can break the paralysis loop. 3. Regulate your sleep schedule. Disrupted REM cycles increase chances of sleep paralysis. 4. Limit stimulants and stress. Caffeine, late-night screens, and anxiety increase episodes. 5. Sleep on your side. Back sleepers report higher rates of sleep paralysis. And if you're spiritually inclined, use cleansing rituals, prayer, or meditative protection. Whether symbolic or energetic, it helps many reclaim safety. Final thought: the thin place between worlds. Sleep paralysis is not just a sleep disorder, it's a threshold between the known and the unknown, the mind and the myth, the self and the shadow, the real and the unreal. And what you encounter in that space might not be real in the physical sense, but it's absolutely real to your nervous system, your fear, your memory.
Part 8. Prophetic dreams, when the future appears in the present. You dream of a place you've never been, a stranger you've never met, a moment you've never lived. Then, days, weeks, or months later, it happens. The exact place, the same face, the same conversation. And you say to yourself, I've been here before. I saw this in a dream. It feels impossible, unbelievable, yet deeply, undeniably real. These are prophetic dreams, or as some call them, precognitive dreams. Dreams that seem to predict the future. And the question is not whether they happen, they do. The real question is, how? What science says and doesn't say. Modern neuroscience is cautious. It explains dreams as the brain processing the past, not forecasting the future. Prophetic dreams, it says, are coincidence, subconscious pattern recognition, wish fulfillment, or fear projection, memory distortion. You think you dreamed it after it happened. But here's the problem. Thousands, perhaps millions of people report dreams of accidents before they happen, visions of phone calls or deaths hours before they occur, seeing places or people they didn't meet until years later. Are they all misremembering? All making it up? Or is science simply not ready to go there?
a glimpse through history. Prophetic dreams are not new. Abraham Lincoln dreamed of his own assassination just days before it happened. Carl Jung dreamed of a massive flood in Europe shortly before World War I began. Ancient Egyptians believed certain dreams came from the gods, offering warnings or revelations. In the Bible, Joseph interprets Pharaoh's dreams of famine, changing the fate of a nation. Across centuries and continents, dreams were seen as windows into the future, sometimes symbolic, sometimes literal, and always mysterious. What if time isn't what we think? Let's shift the lens. We assume time is linear, past, present, future. But quantum physics suggests time may be non-linear, fluid, interconnected across dimensions. If that's true, then dreams may not predict the future. They may touch it. Your subconscious could be tapping into energetic echoes of events not yet unfolded, a field where all moments exist at once, a layer of reality where time bends and boundaries blur. This isn't fantasy, it's a theoretical possibility explored in physics, psychology, and philosophy alike. So why do only some dreams feel prophetic? Because not all dreams come from the same source. Most dreams are emotional processing, symbolic storytelling, memory reorganization. But some feel clearer, calmer, hyper-real, like you're being shown, not inventing. People report vivid colors, crystal clarity, a calm sense of this matters, a strong emotional resonance upon waking. These dreams don't fade, they imprint. And when reality catches up, something inside you remembers. Prophetic dreams and déjà vu. Ever feel like you've lived a moment before? Déjà vu is often explained as a brain glitch, a delay between perception and memory. But what if some déjà vu is your mind catching up to a dream you forgot? Many people say, it wasn't until it happened that I remembered the dream. This suggests the dream was stored, not lost, waiting to be reactivated when the moment arrived. That's not imagination, that's inner recognition. The subconscious as a tuning device. Your subconscious is sensitive. It notices patterns, signals, energy shifts, gut instincts. In dreams, when the conscious mind is silent, you may be more attuned to frequencies of reality that normally go unnoticed. Some believe dreams are where spirit guides send warnings, intuition becomes visible, or higher self delivers truth. Whether you call it energy, God, quantum intuition, or deep unconscious, the result is the same. You know something before you should know it. Personal stories, real, raw, unexplained. A woman dreams her mother hands her a red scarf and cries. The next morning, she gets a call her mother passed in her sleep holding a red scarf. A man dreams of a crash on a specific road, avoids that road, later hears of a fatal pileup at the exact time and place. A teenager dreams of meeting someone with a scar on their left eyebrow. 3 years later, they meet that person, exactly as seen. Are these all coincidence? Or does the dream world touch something we can't yet measure? How to recognize a prophetic dream. While not every vivid dream is prophetic, many share these traits. Extreme clarity, more vivid than normal dreams. Emotional weight, you feel it matters. Symbol light, less metaphor, more realism. Repetition, dream recurs until event happens. Sense of peace or warning, like a calm voice trying to tell you something. If a dream like this happens, write it down, date it, revisit it. because sometimes the meaning only becomes clear after time catches up. Final thought, maybe the future isn't out there, it's already inside you. We fear the unknown, we chase certainty, but dreams remind us there is more to know than logic allows. And sometimes the part of you that dreams knows something your waking mind has yet to grasp. Because the eighth truth about dreams is this: the future doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it whispers in your sleep.
Part 9. Dreams and Trauma. Healing through the unconscious. You think you've moved on. You've buried the pain. You've kept yourself busy, strong, functional, smiling. But when night falls and the world fades, you find yourself back there. The place, the moment, the feeling. It creeps into your dreams, or explodes into nightmares, or echoes in strange symbols you can't explain. This is not regression. This is your subconscious trying to heal. Because trauma doesn't vanish, it hides. And dreams are where it tries to come home. What trauma does to the brain. When we experience trauma, whether sudden or prolonged, our brain goes into survival mode. Amygdala floods with fear. Hippocampus misfiles or blocks memory. Prefrontal cortex shuts down reasoning. As a result, memories fragment. Emotions get stuck. The body stores the event without clarity or resolution. That's why people say, "I don't remember what happened, just how it felt." The conscious mind can't fully process the pain, but the subconscious never stops trying. Dreams as the mind's recovery room. REM sleep, where most dreaming occurs, is deeply tied to emotional integration, memory reconsolidation, fear deconditioning. In REM, the brain replays, reorganizes, and softens emotional experiences. Even when you're not aware, your dreams are revisiting trauma, rewriting neural patterns, trying to turn chaos into comprehension. Your mind isn't punishing you, it's desperately trying to help you heal. The many faces of trauma in dreams. Trauma doesn't always show up as the event itself. It often wears a mask. A house that's always collapsing. A scream no one hears. An endless maze. A broken child you can't reach. A loved one dying over and over. These aren't dreams to fear. They're messages to decode. Each one is a way of saying, "This part of me still hurts. This still isn't finished." Trauma dreams aren't just about memory. They're about meaning. The subconscious doesn't just replay the event. It explores the emotion beneath it. Guilt, powerlessness, anger, grief, shame. It gives that emotion a face, a scene, a story, so it can be felt, understood, and eventually released. Every dream is a safe simulation, a chance to finally feel what you couldn't afford to feel back then. The role of repetition in healing. Why do trauma-related dreams repeat? Because trauma freezes time. A part of you is stuck there, and your subconscious keeps knocking, not to drag you back, but to walk you forward. Each repetition is a new opportunity to feel, name, and complete the emotional cycle that was interrupted. Dream work as a tool for trauma recovery. Therapists and researchers now acknowledge the healing power of dream work. Imagery rehearsal therapy, IRT, used with PTSD patients to rewrite recurring nightmares. Dream journaling,
helps track progress, identifies symbolic patterns, and surface buried emotions. Gestalt dream work treats each symbol in the dream as a part of yourself seeking integration. Lucid dreaming for trauma allows you to face traumatic imagery with awareness and control. The goal isn't to stop the dreams, it's to listen to them until they evolve. A real-life example. A woman dreams of drowning in a car underwater, gasping for breath. She has this dream for years. In therapy, it emerges that as a child, she was silenced by an abusive parent. She was never allowed to breathe or speak. Once she acknowledges and processes the emotion, the dream changes. Now she swims. Now she reaches the surface. Now she breathes. That wasn't just a dream. That was integration. How to use your dreams to heal. Record everything, especially the emotions. Notice recurring images. They are keys. Ask, what did I not feel safe to feel? Work with a professional if needed. Dream work is powerful, but can be overwhelming. Practice compassion toward your dream self. They are not weak, they are wounded. Re-enter the dream in visualization. Rewrite, revisit, reclaim power gently. Final thought. Dreams remember what you forget. You may bury the memory, but your dreams never forget the feeling. They will return again and again, not to haunt you, but to help you finish what was left incomplete. Because the ninth truth about dreams is this: the mind forgets to protect you, but the dream returns to restore you. You are not broken, you are unfinished, and every dream is a step toward becoming whole.
Part 10. The Hidden Truth. You are the author of a world you don't remember. Every night you fall asleep, and every night you enter a world where the rules are different, where the logic is loose, where time bends, where dead people speak, where fear has form, and where beauty defies language. You wake up, and most of it fades. A feeling lingers, like smoke from a fire you don't remember lighting. But here's the truth. You created that world. Every sky, every stranger, every detail. And you forgot. Because that's what dreams are. Entire universes built by a part of you that the daylight never sees. And the deepest truth of all, you are the dreamer, but also the dreamed. Why you forget so much? You can write a dream in vivid detail the moment you wake up, and 30 minutes later, it's gone. Why? Because dreams exist in a different state of consciousness. Your short-term memory systems aren't fully online during REM. Your prefrontal cortex is subdued. The imagery is processed in limbic and visual regions, not language centers. So when you wake up, the translation fails, the dream dissolves. But it doesn't mean it didn't matter. It means you weren't trained to remember. The paradox of the dreamer. In dreams, you are the creator, the characters, the villain, the lover, the setting, the storm, the solution. You think you're walking through a movie, but in truth, you're projecting the screen, and every symbol you encounter is a reflection of you. That's the most hidden truth of all. The dream is not separate from the self. It is the self set free. Dreams are practice for the soul. What if dreams are more than emotional processing,
more than metaphors or neural fireworks? What if they are training grounds for your spirit, spaces to test versions of yourself, a parallel life running while you sleep? Some spiritual traditions believe dreams are journeys through the astral plane, encounters with higher consciousness, glimpses into other timelines. We don't claim to know, but we ask you, why would your mind create entire worlds just to throw them away? What if your dreams matter more than you've ever allowed yourself to believe? You're writing a story while you sleep. Every night, a part of you becomes the storyteller, the screenwriter, the composer, the set designer, the emotional director. And what do you write about? The things you won't say out loud, the people you can't forgive, the fears you keep quiet, the love you buried, the person you could be if you stopped hiding. Dreams don't lie. They just use myth to say what you're not ready to admit. The mirror within the mirror. When you look into your dreams, you are not just seeing images. You are seeing patterns, wounds, desires, longings, ghosts, hopes. A deeper version of yourself calling you back. Every dream asks a question. Will you remember who you are beneath the noise? And if you answer that question, you wake up, not just from sleep, but from illusion. What happens when you start listening? When you respect your dreams, things change. You begin to heal. You begin to remember. You begin to reconnect with parts of yourself long forgotten. You become less afraid of your truth. You become more compassionate toward others. You walk through life with a quiet knowing, because every night you're reminded there's more to you than this version you perform every day. Final thought. You are the author, and the dream was never meaningless. Somewhere inside you lives a voice that doesn't speak in words, a memory that doesn't age, a wisdom that doesn't belong to the mind. It comes to you in symbols, in shadows, in impossible places, and all it ever asks is this: will you remember what you already know? Because the 10th and final truth about dreams is this: you are the author of a world you've only begun to explore, and the key to understanding it has been in your sleep all along. The language of dreams is the language of you. You've made it through 10 layers, 10 truths, 10 windows into the part of your life you spend sleeping, but that may be more awake than you ever imagined. Dreams are not just flickers of a resting brain. They are emotional mirrors, subconscious messengers, symbols of buried truth, maps to healing, echoes of memory, whispers from the soul, portals to the unknown, and sometimes blueprints from the future. The world tells you to ignore your dreams, to forget them, to dismiss them as random. But what if your dreams are the most honest part of your life? Let's remember what you've learned. That your brain doesn't sleep to rest, it sleeps to reorganize your entire inner world. That recurring dreams are not broken loops, but unfinished messages. That nightmares are not punishment, but raw truth asking to be faced. That lucid dreams show you who you really are when the rules fall away. That dream symbols speak louder than words ever could. That sleep paralysis may open doors we don't fully understand. That some dreams reach forward in time. That trauma doesn't vanish, it visits you in the night, seeking healing. that you are the creator of these inner worlds, whether you remember them or not. This isn't mysticism. This is the missing chapter of your life. And the reason it feels so mysterious is because we were never taught to look within. We were only taught to look outward. The key has always been with you. You don't need books. You don't need gurus. You don't need someone else to interpret your mind. You just need curiosity, attention, honesty, a pen, and time. Because the part of you that dreams is the part of you that remembers what the rest of you tries to forget. That you are whole, that you are healing, that you are more than your name, job, or daily routine. An invitation. So tonight, when you close your eyes and the world fades, don't just sleep. Set an intention. I'm ready to listen. I'm ready to see. I'm ready to remember. And then, let go. Let the subconscious paint. Let the shadow speak. Let the symbols dance. Because what comes next might change everything. This has been Hidden Truths. If this video stirred something in you, a memory, a mystery, a question, don't leave it here. Start a dream journal. Share your stories in the comments. Explore your inner world like it matters, because it does. And subscribe for more journeys into the invisible layers of human truth. Because you are not just a person who dreams. You are a dreamer who's starting to wake up.